This is an M-rated game, so viewer discretion is advised. UnMetal! This has to be one of the most immature, goofy, crazy stealth games I've ever played. And I loved it. Now, I'm about to say something you might not expect. I do not like Metal Gear games. I find them boring. Now, to be fair though, I've only played the first game on the NES and the first 2 hours of the first Metal Gear Solid game on the PlayStation. I did not like the NES game. It was very confusing. I did end up beating it, but I had to use passwords to do it. UnMetal is really just the NES version of Metal Gear. But the twist is, what if it's funny? And let me tell you this right now, this game is very funny. There were more times than I can remember that I was just laughing out loud. And the littlest came in to see what I was playing. He ended up watching me towards the end of the game because he enjoyed it just as much as I did. Or at least he enjoyed watching me enjoy it. I do think it really hit its stride with the jokes in the final part of the game. Maybe it's because I spent the last 8 hours with this character, and it felt like it was really earned. Because I was just cackling over that two doctors bit. Was it stupid? Absolutely. However, it was totally in character. The main character that you play as is Jesse Fox. He has been in prison for a crime he did not commit. He then has to find a way to break out and escape the area. We know that he eventually escapes because the whole story is being narrated by Jesse to the woman in the passenger seat of the car that he's driving. He's telling her about the story, about the time he was interrogated, about the time he escaped from a prison and how he escaped. So the story has two narrators, one from the car and one from the interrogation. It was quite brilliant. Jesse is telling the story to both of these people, and the whole time it feels like he's just making the whole thing up. So much so that you have choices on what you can see. Depending on what you choose, it might make the level easier to dispatch the enemies. The choices were usually crazy, and Jesse will always try to justify it. Even if it's walking piranhas in the sewers. You'll be sneaking through the prisons and different complexes. You will pick up quite a few items throughout your adventure. Some of it was not very helpful. I still have no idea what the rings do. Maybe Jesse's just stealing wedding rings. Let me make this clear. Jesse is an idiot. However, he's the goofy kind of idiot who will misunderstand situations and make a fool of himself. However, he's still enjoyable to follow. As you're playing, you might actually do something the game is not expecting, and it actually might call you on it, with the narration from the people that Jesse is telling the story from. For example, I was dodging Jenny up fire traps. When I got to the end of the section, the interrogator asked me, why didn't you just put on the suit that you had that would hold back the heat? And truthfully, I forgot I had it. I used it on the way back and it would made things a lot easier. I just wasn't expecting the game to notice it. Now, the main character will not kill anyone in this game, so you're going to need to find a way to knock out all the guards. So that means if you shoot someone, you're going to need to heal them with your health packs. Sure, you could shoot someone and heal them. You'd be out of health packs pretty quickly. So you're going to need to find a different way to sneak past them or ambush them. Luckily, the guards love to pick up shiny coins, and it's a great way to ambush them. There are boss fights quite often, and it can get a little bit difficult, but you will eventually get it. There are a few difficulty levels if you want a challenge, but even at the easiest setting, this wasn't a cakewalk. Now, the game is fully voice acted, and I think it's much better for it. A lot of the jokes would not have landed so well without it. Now, with that said, it did kind of feel like it was recorded in someone's bathroom, as the audio quality isn't great sometimes. But I still love the voice acting. One of the things I really liked about this was that the levels were fairly short, usually no more than an hour. Most of the time it feels less than that. The levels tended not to be dragged out, and for the most part, you won't be bored while playing this. With one exception. In the last part of the game, there is a pointless maze. They give you directions, but it's very dull. It only lasts 10 minutes or so, but they really should have cut this out. UnMetal was very amusing and entertaining. The levels were fairly compact and you won't get lost, except for that maze part, but that's more of an exception. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did. By the 10 hours I played this, I had a smile on my face most of the time. This is normally $19.99, and while I think that's about $5 too much, I enjoyed it so much I'm going to recommend you buy it. If you like Metal Gear games and don't mind some potty humor, there's a lot to enjoy in this parody. You will never know where the story is going, and the ending is great, so I do think it's worth a buy.